We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Gerdeman.
Obviously, I mean, just always, excited to win, especially a game like that, which, I just thought we were kind of, we had one really good stretch in the first half. I thought offensively and defensively and built a little bit of a lead, and then that disappeared real quick. They're a great team, really, really hard to guard. Obviously, a great shooting team, and we knew that. But I thought they played really well, and then I thought the second half it was a fight, the whole time for us just to try to get any momentum. I didn't, every time we'd get a steal, we wouldn't score. We'd get a score, we wouldn't get a stop. So it was really choppy. I think at the 3 minute mark or 4 minute mark, I think we had, maybe the last media timeout. I kind of even said, hey, maybe we ain't gonna do it today, because we just, we fought a lot and we've dug and we've never stopped playing hard. But it didn't feel like it to me at the time. And surprise, surprise, we did it. And luckily, Nate makes a great shot at the end. And unlike the Eastern Illinois game, we get a stop on the other end and feel really good about it.
Yeah, that was the thing. Even after the great shot to take the lead, they still had 5.5
Yeah.
seconds left, and you still got to keep playing.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes that focus. I mean, it changes that quick.
Yeah, and if it feels like things slow down a lot, and I thought we were really out of sorts when the shot went in.
Yeah.
And then he kind of fixed the ball up real quick, and I thought Jadis had done a good job because he was getting back and headed that direction, and we were trying to get him to kind of just go ahead and double it, and he came over at the end and was still involved in the play. So
Yeah.
him and Nate and Jadis did a great job there because sometimes you can get beat right back down the floor, and they did it. They got it to 6 feet and missed a shot. So I thought it was good for him to recognize it, turn around and play.
Talk about that last rotation, though. How did it end up with you and your shot?
Well, Markeith is a great scorer, main vocal point of the team. So he attracted all the attention. My guy flinch a little bit, so I moved up. He trusted me. He passed it. So I knew I could see the time and my defender couldn't. So I shot faked and then took a dribble and shot it.
Yeah.
I live with the results.
That little sidestep helps with rhythm, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great rhythm shot. The other thing is with Aeneas doing all the scoring and as you mentioned, Markeith going inside. But what is it about a player who lets the game come to him and then is still ready in the moment, even though it's almost the last moment of the game?
Well, to be honest, you can't really prepare for that. Part of that is just luck. I read it on Instagram. Like, it's just luck. Luck is just when you prepare yourself. You take the time to prepare yourself. That way, when the time does come, you can prepare it and you can complete it.
Nate, you guys just kind of did not seem to go down without a fight throughout that entire second half that eventually led to that last second shot. Was that kind of like part of your mentality every single game, just no matter what, always going 100%?
Yes, sir. The coaches instill it in us to work hard as we can till you're dead tired. And we as a team, we have a lot of grit, I feel like. So we're not going to just take no. We're not going to just take it. We're going to punch back.
Yeah, I think one thing people should know. Nate is a hard worker. He's always in the gym. He's always working on a shot. He's been that way since he got here, and I think he's found a bigger role this year. Last year he was in and out, and sometimes probably didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. Sometimes it goes that way, but nobody works harder, and that's why I'm happy for him to have the success that he's having this year. Not just making big shots, but just the way he's been playing. Defensively rebounding, finding his way to get to the basket at times. So I think it's just a product of Nate is just like we want everybody, just come in and work. Be prepared. I think he's right. I think when you prepare yourself every day, I think you're ready in the moment to make those shots. And like I said, nobody works harder than Nate on this team.
Kyle, talk about just weathering the storm. I mean, that second half, all of a sudden they're up 7. It's kind of like your season. You keep losing guys with injuries, but you just endure.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to put it, is weathering the storm, because, again, their style of play is unique, and you just don't see it very much. And, I can remember we used to play a couple of D2 teams when, a few years ago that did the same thing. And it's just really hard to get your team, like we're a really good 5-man defensive team, but they take you out of your 5-man defense because, they got 2 guys in an action on one side of the floor. You kind of have 3 guys just standing on the other side of the floor. So, and then all of a sudden, what I don't think we did a lot of, we never started really guessing. We didn't start trapping just to try to make something happen. We kind of hung in there with what the principles were for this game. A lot of times it didn't feel like it was going to work. But I think over the course of 40 minutes, we were able to weather that storm, and again get a couple stops that we needed, and then find our way a little bit offensively. We shoot 59% in the second half, so I mean obviously that's a big deal. But I just thought the overall mentality, even on a day where I wasn't sure that we had it, these guys still have it, and they keep playing when there's another possession. And long way to go, but I'm just proud of what we're turning into.
And just kind of looking at that, obviously, it just seemed like a lot of those possessions early on in the second half, just shots didn't seem to fall. And like you said, you just kind of felt like you didn't seem to have it. What does it kind of say about the team knowing that even with that kind of feeling, they still managed to find a way and then win the game?
I think we've just got a lot of tough-minded guys, and that's what we were hoping for when you put it together. But I think they've probably, I think their mentality has probably exceeded what maybe what we would even have hoped for. I think every team wants to be tough, and every team wants to win, wants to have grit and do those things. And it's you talk about it at times, and you put it on posters. But I think these guys just do it. And I think that's what's enjoyable about them, because we talked about it, in the preseason. Like, this is what we need to develop into. This is what we need to be. This needs to be our DNA if we're going to find success. And I think as a coach, you just find an appreciation for it. You worry every day that it's not going to happen the next game. Like I was worried about it with 7 minutes left, that we weren't going to find it. But you got to believe in them. You got to praise them when they need it, hold them accountable when they need it, and they kind of do the rest.
Nias had that gigantic first half.
Yeah.
But he ends up with 10 rebounds too. Like that second half when they were taking him away, he was still doing the other stuff.
Yep, and I think sometimes that gets really hard for guys that have had a big night. Sometimes the mind wanders and you think about, man, how many points am I going to score, and how good can it be? But I was with you. Like, I knew at halftime he had a lot of rebounds, and I don't ever think a guy's going to go out and get another 24 in the second half. If you do, you do, but it's going to be a lot harder for him. And so to see him engaged rebounding, engaged defensively, is a credit to him to just go play the game. Sometimes there's value in being a guy that nobody leaves on the offensive end, and sometimes that's hard for guys to accept. But you still play an important role. We're still running them off screens. We're still keeping them in spacing situations to help other guys get to the basket. And I think that's probably a lot of the reason why maybe Markeith was able to have a good last 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, where he was at the rim a lot. Probably because they weren't going to leave Aeneas, and that probably helps your spacing a lot.
What about your 7-footer? I mean, he's growing, isn't he?
Yeah, it was. We talked about it after the last game. I mean, he is a sponge since he got here. He's a great person. His energy is unbelievable every day in practice. He knew kind of what his role was going to be coming in. He didn't play in high school last year. Understood there may not be a lot of minutes, but he shows up every day and he works. Other guys are out there shooting jump shots. He has to go shoot on the side basket and shoot layups and work on catching passes, and he does it every day. A lot of guys don't like that stuff, but he does it. And, I thought he was really good defensively in a situation he'd never been in, guarding a five-man that can dribble it, kind of a point forward. And I thought he did a really good job. So, I don't know, just what a week for somebody like him that, was dying to play, but wasn't really getting very many minutes, was getting a few more minutes than he got. But now you end up, probably should have started Thursday, starts tonight, and plays over 20 minutes and just did a fantastic job. Just proud of him.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.